I think that oversharing is one of the biggest indicators you are unable to critically think.
You still have to protect parts of yourself and your privacy and keep some of it sacred.
Social media has made people far more observable than people realize. People think they just posting photos, vacations, accomplishments, luxury purchases, relationship problems. They're really doing is building a psychological profile of themselves in public.
Your life is not a community project, and not everybody needs access to it.
Today on Forward, we are going to be separating trends from truth. We are going to spend time digging in and breaking down all of the trends that have overcome our lives and told us to live a certain way. We're going to break those down and we're going to pull the truth out of it because we need to get back to living a beautiful life. Matter of fact, we need to start creating our own version of a fabulous life separate from what trends are telling us to do because we have the power to do that. Today, we're going to break down the trend that tells us that authenticity requires full transparency because that is a lie. The truth of the matter is that authenticity and privacy can coexist. And let's also touch on something that I feel like women have been giving away unintentionally, but it's been happening, which is their privacy, their mystery, their boundaries. And let's get into the power of not making every beautiful thing in your life public property. We have bought into this idea that access equals authenticity, that vulnerability requires full access, and to be relevant in today's social media driven era, you have to overshare. And we have really bought into this idea like it was some winning lottery ticket that was going to pay millions of dollars. I'm sure all of us are asking, where is the money? Because we didn't get anything. All we got was overexposure. Aaliyah's face recently had the girls gagged, and I'm talking about mouths dropping on the floor. Not only did she come out and say, well, I got engaged, but she turned around and said, well, I got engaged, I got married, and I am with child. But here's the thing, I don't think people were really surprised by marriage. I don't even think they were surprised by pregnancy. People get married and have a baby every single day of the week. Here's the thing that I think that people were most shocked by. I think that they were most shocked by the level of privacy. She made it very clear and she was incredibly intentional about keeping her private life separate from her public life. So this means when she came out with this information, it was very strategic. It was intentional. It was thought out and well planned. And she did so in a way that was on her own timeline so that she could protect the information that was most sacred in her life. Meanwhile, social media has encouraged us to do the exact opposite over the last decade because the internet is telling us, okay, share more, explain more, reveal more, document more. We think you should be more accessible. We think you should be more relatable. We think you should be more vulnerable. Again, we've bought into this idea that access shows vulnerability or that it shows authenticity, but in actuality, on a subconscious level, we have traded in our mystery for a like, share, and a follow. I want you to hear me when I say this because I am not being funny and I'm not exaggerating. I need for you to say full disclosure for God and if need be, your lawyer. And I'm going to say it one more time. We say full disclosure for God and if need be, a good lawyer. And yes, it is very much so that serious because oversharing has become more problematic than ever before. Here's how oversharing has changed over the years. Oversharing used to look like maybe you gave a little too much detail and a little too much explanation to a friend about your recent breakup. And maybe this is a friend that does not know how to keep private conversation private. And now your information is floating around to a couple other little, nosy ears around your friend group. And now everybody has commentary on how they think you should have acted or what you could have done better rather than just staying in their lane. But here's the difference now. We are not just oversharing with a couple of family members or friends in your inner circle. Now we're oversharing with millions of strangers, thousands of people who have an opinion, hundreds of people who feel entitled to access that they never earned. And we're doing it all in the name of authenticity, vulnerability, relatability, and community. Because social media and the influencer economy have pushed this narrative. They've pushed this idea because over the last decade, what have we seen? We've seen more creators, more competition, more noise, more people trying to establish trust within their communities. And let me go ahead and say this for the record. I do not think the industry is oversaturated. I don't. I feel like there are unique people in the world. They have unique perspectives. There are things and qualities specific that are very special about this individual. So there is always room for somebody new to come in. However, because there are so many content creators and because there are so many influencers and this level of competition that's out there and everybody wants to grow and scale, I believe that that is what convinced people to believe that access was the quickest and fastest route to make connection or to build trust. So in their minds, it became, well, if I share more, people will trust me more. If I reveal more, people will connect with me more. If I explain more, then that will get people to support me. With that type of mindset, it will alter your belief system. And your belief system at that point becomes, well, full disclosure equals authenticity. Full disclosure equals trustworthiness. Full disclosure equals community. Trust is not built through unlimited access. Trust is built through consistency. Trust is built through character. Trust is built through integrity. Trust is built through giving a little over time. And even when you're giving, you're still withholding what is most sacred, what is private, what you deem most valuable in your life. You cannot, at this point, we're just handing the keys to our home to total strangers, giving them all of the inside secrets, giving them all of what is shared in between the sheets at this point. I'm guilty of buying into this idea a little bit, but for the most part, I keep my private life private. I can count on probably this many hands in all of the almost 14 years that me and my husband have been married. I can probably count on this many fingers the amount of times that I've shared him to my social media. That goes the same for my kids. I can count on this many hands how many times I've shared my children to social media.
You cannot bully me into telling my business. Like, if I don't want to share something, I'm not going to.
I was always a believer of my relationship is private. My children are private. They are my safe space. They are sacred to me. And I don't want everybody putting their opinion on what I have going on in my personal life. I'm just not going to let that happen. My relationship is just not public property. My kids are not public property. They are mine. Every single person walking the face of this earth is somebody worth experiencing. You watching this video, yes, you are worth experiencing. You have qualities and characteristics about you that are not going to be found in any other person. And because of that, people should have to earn access to you. Everybody does not get a front row seat to every milestone, victory, difficult season, dreams that you are still building right now. They don't get to experience every beautiful thing in your life. The people who care for you, who love you, the people who have watched you on a day-to-day basis, those are the people that you want to give that front row seat to. But everybody else does not get to just have access to every single aspect of your life when they have not earned that. You'll still be just as transparent. You'll still be just as authentic. You'll still be just as vulnerable. You'll still be just as relatable. Having an extra layer of protection around your privacy does not make you less genuine. In all honesty, it makes you more intriguing. There's a cost to oversharing. Again, we're not just dealing with family and friends. We are essentially sharing details with the world. You're sharing the restaurants that you frequent. You're sharing while you're on vacation. You're sharing your gym. You're sharing the shops that you like to shop at on a regular basis. You're sharing the exact qualities that you are looking for in a partner. You're sharing your routines, your schedules, your habits, your favorite places, and so on and so on. Slowly, you are leaving a little breadcrumb trail. But if you leave enough breadcrumbs, somebody will be able to take those breadcrumbs and connect the dots. Even though you did not mean for them to, they still have the capability to connect the dots.
Do you realize there's people out here that know almost everything about you and you never even met them yet? I remember years ago, I met this guy that was following this woman online. She was very successful, highly accomplished, a multi-millionaire. And one day this guy shows me this woman's page and he tells me, I'm gonna get her. He's telling me all this stuff about how much money she's made, where she lives and how big her house is. And just going on and on about all the materialistic things that she has. Fast forward like 6 months later and I see him again. And this time he's with the woman that he was showing me, and now they're in a serious relationship. And the wildest part was she told me that they met randomly and they instantly connected. She said she knew nothing about him and he knew nothing about her. Meanwhile, this dude already been watching this woman for months.
This man took the breadcrumbs, put them in a bowl, and had enough to cover for the crunchy top on the macaroni cheese. He approached her, appearing to be a stranger, making it seem like they had genuine common interest. And on her part, she thinks that she's meeting somebody organically, somebody that she is like, okay, I can give my time and attention to this man because we have common interests. All the while, she is interacting with somebody who studied her every move, someone who researched and did a background check essentially on her. Her location may have never been explicitly given, but there was enough public information for him to pinpoint a time and a place to track this woman down. That is the reason why you have to be extremely careful about oversharing information, especially on the internet. When we're doing it in the moment, it feels harmless, right? It feels like, okay, I'm just sharing parts of my life. I'm telling you guys where I like to shop. I'm telling you where I like to eat. I'm telling you my favorite vacation spots. But collectively, it creates a map. And if somebody really wants to decode the map, they can. When we're talking about oversharing and we're talking about privacy, it's not just about what we share, it's about how we share it. So I don't care what kind of niche it is, food creators, fashion creators, lifestyle creators, mommy creators, travel creators. Almost every niche involves documenting life as it's happening. If our phones are always out, are we paying attention to our surroundings? Or are we paying attention to someone who may be paying too much attention to us? Privacy is not paranoia. Awareness is not fear, and boundaries are not secrecy. That right there is why my YouTube vlogging career only lasted about 5 uploads. Listen, I am not paranoid. I promise you I'm not. It's just that my spidey senses are always tingling. When I attempted to vlog before, I didn't have a GoPro. I didn't have the other little mini handheld camera. I didn't have anything. I had my big ass Nikon Z50 that I am actually filming on right now. This thing is huge. I'm trying to, check my framing and check audio and watching 3 kids at the same time and then trying to create a storyline. It's too much. Now, when it comes to short form, yeah, I'll do it because at that point, I'm only using my phone. I'm getting a couple little clips. And usually if I'm vlogging on my phone for a short form, I'm not talking. I'm gonna do a voiceover later. And let me reiterate, this is my choice, okay? I know that there are a ton of people who still vlog. A ton of people who have their phones out and their cameras out, even with kids. Do you. I am not knocking anybody who goes out in public and films. I'm not knocking it. When we're speaking on the topic of oversharing and we're speaking about privacy and safety, just ensure that you are always looking around in your surroundings, that you always have your head on a swivel because you want to make sure that you are protected and that you are safe because stalkers exist. Okay? All of that exists. People watching you, watching your every move, it exists. So you just want to make sure that you're safe. So to my girlies who are out there vlogging, be safe, watch your surroundings. Hey, if you need to grab a friend and make a content day, do that. But again, it's all about being safe. When it comes down to it, I feel like there are 2 types of people online. You have the person who gives it all away, and then you have the person who gives you just enough, but they are going to save a little piece. They're going to leave room for discovery. I have always found myself drawn to the latter. A woman who still possesses her mystery, a woman who intentionally protects the sacred portions of her life.
Just remember, you can be open, but just be careful to not overshare. Being open is about, number 1, sharing honestly, but with intention. And I think that's where the mark you can overstep the mark. And let me explain to you what oversharing is. You share too much too soon with the wrong person. And you have to be careful that you're not releasing emotion within the conversation to offload rather than to connect. Because it could actually become you trauma dumping on this person, telling them all this information about yourself. It leaves you kind of feeling a bit naked, a bit exposed, a bit uncomfortable. Keep some of your information behind closed doors.
If you put information out there for public opinion, you cannot get upset when the public responds. So you eliminate the chance for them to respond by protecting your level of privacy, by protecting what is most important. Mysterious women or enigmatic women understand this concept because they're not going for it. I don't care how much you want me to share my life. I am not going to share the details. It's not the mystery itself that makes them so magnetic, because anybody can be mysterious. They can withdraw a couple of details and seem more mysterious. The reason they're so magnetic is because they are truly experiencing their life that is outside of a scroll session. They are living their life to the fullest. When you live your life to the fullest and you truly have an appreciation for experiencing your life in real time, you will protect certain aspects so that that is not tainted, right? You don't want to give an opportunity for all of what you live off of social media to be tainted. When you come across this type of woman, I want you to remember this. She is like a beautifully written novel rather than a Wikipedia page. We all know when you go to a Wikipedia page, you are getting timestamp, you are getting fact after fact, you are getting all the details in this short amount of time. No mystery, no nothing. When you think about a beautifully written novel, especially if it has like a poetic aspect to it, writing it in a way where it's mysterious, you're going to have to do the work to break it down. That is what an enigmatic woman or a mysterious woman reminds me of. You're not going to get the timestamps with her. It's not going to happen. You are not going to get fact after fact after fact. You have to break down the type of woman she is. And even when you do the breakdown, you're still not going to know the type of woman that she is behind closed doors. You're not going to get all the details. You're just not going to get it. I'm beginning to understand that individuality is really discovered through privacy, through protection. So your likes, your dislikes, humor, your values, your perspective, your essence. These are things that you are going to discover about yourself when your privacy is protected. And in a world where individuality seems to be slipping through our fingertips and oversharing has become a friggin' sport at this point, we need to place a higher priority on protecting our private moment. Privacy is not secrecy. It's not manipulation. It's not pretending. It's not intentionally withholding information to control people. It's not playing games. There is power in deciding what belongs to you and what belongs to the public. There is power in understanding that access is not owed. Access is granted because, again, the trend tells us that authenticity requires full transparency, but at this point, we have really recognized that authenticity and privacy can coexist. Even if you've overshared before, you've brought everybody along for the ride, you've shared every milestone, every update, every relationship, every chapter, you have the right to change your mind. You can revoke access at any time you want. You can redraw the boundary lines at any time you want. You can decide, hey, now certain parts of my life, they are off limits. And making that decision for yourself, that shows growth. That shows that you've matured. That shows that you have a higher level of discernment now. That shows that you are learning yourself, you're trusting yourself. Trends are very sneaky, okay? And that is why we have to be careful about what we are allowing to become new normals in our lives. That is why it is so important to audit yourself regularly to see what you are taking in and what changes are happening in your life, even when you don't recognize that the changes are happening. Hopefully today we have separated the trend from the truth and you are one step closer to creating your own version of a fabulous life. If you found that you absolutely love this video, or you found this video useful in some way, it gave you encouragement or motivation, I want you to send this to someone who you feel can benefit from this message as well, because we all could benefit from separating the trends from the truth. But that is all I have. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with me today, and until next time, bye.